We know the number could have been bigger, but nevertheless, we are very, very proud for the ones who have qualified and are in the list of the coming graduation. To my colleagues, deans, chairpersons of department, and supervisors and professors of Kenyatta University, you are all appreciated for the support to our postgraduate students and the good work you are doing for this great university. The graduates participating in today's seminar is as a result of our collective effort. You are all highly applauded. Let's keep the spirit. Let's maintain our blood as Kenyatta University. It is now my honor to invite our Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of academic, Professor Washeko Njohi, to give some remarks and invite the Vice Chancellor to address us and open the seminar, and thereafter invite the keynote speaker. Thank you.
A few selected students who have done, I don't want to say have done extremely well, because all the 60 students have done well, but this is a sample to showcase the kind of good work that we are doing in this university as we train human resource for this country. And so allow me, Vice Chancellor, to congratulate our special guest, first and foremost for submitting himself to studentship, while at the same time he is doing the work that he does as the governor of Kakamega County. So I will not say much, but before I invite the VC to give his speech, I want to sincerely congratulate all those who are going to be graduating during our 58th graduation ceremony, and those who are here. I'm glad that you have made it this far. Sometimes people give the full names of PhD as permanent head damage. I don't see any one of you whose head has been permanently damaged. And I also want to really appreciate the work that the supervisors have done to support the students get to this level where they have actually been approved by Senate to graduate. Allow me, VC, to just say one thing that this university is committed to: the timely completion of our postgraduate students. And I'm very pleased. I've seen a majority of those who are going to be making their presentations today are actually stroke 2021, which is a big, big positive for us as a university and for you as students who have worked collaboratively with the supervisor, with the division, with the deans, with the chairman of the department to get you to this point. And as a division, we continue to spearhead this, and under the leadership of the Vice Chancellor, we have made a commitment that to the extent that is going to depend on us as an institution, we are going to do our best to make sure that you complete your studies on time. And we appeal to you that to the extent that it depends on you to complete your studies on time, do your best so that together, those combined efforts, we are able to complete, you're able to complete your studies on time. And so with those few remarks, VC and our special guest, I now want to take this opportunity to invite the Vice Chancellor to actually address you. Thank you.
Kenyatta University Management Board and the entire university community, I'm deeply honored and delighted to welcome you all for this historic 50th postgraduate showcase seminar for our PhD graduates, class of 2025. Your Excellency, we are profoundly privileged by your presence and even more inspired that you stand before us, not only as a distinguished governor, but as a fellow scholar and one of our own graduates, embodying the excellence we celebrate today. And I want to emphasize, this is why this is unique. We all know the kind of responsibility that you have. And even with all that, you have been able to actually have time and space to take this honors job, achieving one of the highest qualification within the academic. So it shows, beside what you are doing, your passion for scholarship. That is why, again, it is unique that whatever you are going to tell us here, whatever you are going to tell us when you address this group or team, it is actually what you have gone through. And that is what makes this very unique. Our annual PhD showcase seminars are milestones, events that affirm Kenyatta University's unwavering commitment to excellence and postgraduate education, research, and innovation. In today's seminar, we gather not only to celebrate the remarkable academic achievement of our PhD graduates, but also to acknowledge that amid your leadership in public service and economic governance, Your Excellency, your continuous pursuit of scholarly work enriches this academic forum. Together, we are all our graduates. I am confident that the holistic education you have received at Kenyatta University will continue to drive the sustainable development and uplifting of human condition. Governor Baraza did his bachelor's in Kenyatta University, master's in Kenyatta University, and now PhD at Kenyatta University. So it means the governor is Kenyatta University Ndamu kabisa. Yes. Your Excellency, this year, as we have been told, 60 candidates across our 7 schools will be conferred with PhD degrees, 18 female and 37 male. As we look forward to 19th December 2025, when we shall celebrate the 58th graduation ceremony under the theme, Innovating Education and Research for Digital World, we remain aware that we have in our era where digital technologies are reshaping every facet of life, from the classroom to the research lab, from business environments to everyday human experiences. Artificial intelligence, cloud computing, big data analytics, the Internet of Things, 5G networks, biotechnology and genetic engineering, as well as green energy, are redefining the boundaries of knowledge and expanding the possibility of human progress. So all these areas are important for us to actually develop. This year's theme resonates deeply with Kenyatta University's vision and align with our mission as developing holistic graduates who are innovative, ethical, and social responsible. It also speaks directly to Kenya's national development agenda, particularly Vision 2030 and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda that is better, which emphasize education, science, technology, and innovation as essential pillars of growth and sustainability. The challenges over time ranges from climate change, energy crisis, poverty, social inequality, inadequate health care, biodiversity loss, and food insecurity demands and demand value-based. Competence-driven and innovative education and research capable of steering responsible technologies for an improved quality of life. As Kenya's premier university, Kenyatta University has established strong education and research ecosystem that champion quality learning and responsible innovation. Your Excellency, Kenyatta University stands today as a beacon of academic distinction, powered by a strong commitment to research, innovation, and societal transformation. Over the years, the university has invested significantly in expanding research capacity, nurturing global partnership, and fostering a culture of creativity that consistently produces real-world solutions. This foundation has strengthened our local and international standing, and reaffirmed KU's place as a leading center of knowledge, discovery, and transformative impact. Equally noteworthy is our consistent success at the Nairobi International Trade Fair, where the university has earned top honors for innovative research exhibition, educational leadership, and exemplary institutional presentation. This achievement, Your Excellency, together with being ranked Kenya's #1 university for the Times Higher Education World University ranking for 2 consecutive years, testament to our commitment to excellence in teaching, research, and community engagement. To our PhD graduates, although we shall engage further during the 58th graduation ceremony that is coming, allow me to extend my heartfelt congratulations on reaching the most prestigious academic milestone in Kenyatta University. As scholars and innovators, you now carry the responsibility to ensure that knowledge inspires ethical leadership, drives sustainable development, and promotes inclusive growth. As you prepare to receive your doctoral accolades, I urge you to be responsible stewards of knowledge and accountable leaders, innovating boldly yet ethically in a rapid, evolving digital world. What we are trying to say is that the world will keep on changing, and we cannot lag behind. And that is what we are doing at Kenyatta University. And I'm now, with those few remarks, here's the graduate showcase seminar officially open. Besides that, it is now my great pleasure to invite our distinguished keynote speaker.
All right, a very good morning. Just hold on there. We'll get to the keynote speaker in a bit. Welcome to Biashara Tuesday on this 9th day of December 2025, where we have prepared a lot for you, especially of what is happening around campus and everything that you need to know about Kenyatta University. My name is Anyango Sylvia, and this is Biashara Tuesday. Trust you're ready to get informed on what is shaping your world, especially this day. So, being a Tuesday, it is a day that is majorly focused on business insights, giving you trade secrets, business strategies, whether you're starting up or you're a seasoned entrepreneur. It is a day that we majorly focus on getting you informed. But before we get you informed today, let us begin at taking a look at what is shaping our dailies this morning, because that is a discussion that we for sure will be having later on in our coverage tonight. And when I look at the Star, they're talking of unregistered 1.5 million Nyanza voters to swing 2027 polls. The Star is really talking of matters politics and also intrigues in 2027 Nairobi governor race. And we have all the leaders who are potentially vying for the Nairobi gubernatorial seat. We have Johnson Sakaja, we have Babu Owino, we have Agnes Kagura, who was also in the 2022 Nairobi polls. We have Moses Kuria, we have George Aladwe, we have James Gakuya, and Irungu Nyakera. These are prominent figures in matters politics in the country. So that story is given prominence on the Star. Moving on to a different newspaper this morning is the People Daily, where they're also giving prominence to matters politics. That is Kalonzo Musyoka's bold strategy for 2027. And they're also talking of Winnie Odinga, who is also finding her way into the front pages, why Winnie Odinga is a leading voice in Kenya's political future. Talk of aura that she has, that she carries. So that is given prominence on the People Daily. On Taifa Leo, they're talking of wapigania viatu vya Raila Odinga. And this is several faces that are fronted there on the Taifa Leo. We have Gladys Wanga, we have Babu Owino, we have Opiyo Wandayi, we have John Mbadi, and also we have Interior PS, that is Raymond Omolo. And Taifa Leo is talking about wao kupigania viatu vya Raila Odinga. And this is also a race that has turned to be not just ODM race, but it's also considered to be the Luo race of who is the kingpin. Moving on to a different newspaper, we have the Standard talking about the ID scandal, and they're talking of the arrest of 26 suspects in a fast-growing citizenship for sale market. And that story is given prominence on page 5 and 6 of the Standard. They're not talking of anything political today. The Daily Nation talking of revealed how to get top senior school slots. That is in relation to the just concluded junior secondary examinations, how to get to top schools. We also have East African matters there of Samia Suluhu. Remember, today is the day when Tanzanians had planned to go for protest, a protest that the police had declared unconstitutional or illegal. That is also given prominence on the Daily Nation. The Business Daily talking about KTDF factory loans rise to 26 billion on borrowing spree. Also counterfeit. Court falls Attorney General for HR power grab in parastatals. That story given prominence on the Business Daily. And finally, the Financial Standard talking about why MPs halted that tycoon's commercial deal. That story is given prominence on page 24 and 25 of the Business, the Financial Standard, that is. So that discussion surrounding the newspaper we shall be having with Murithi Alex, who is a youth representative in the Mwiki ward. And we shall be having that discussion coming up shortly throughout the session that you're going to be having this morning. So At that point, I want us to take a look at what is happening on our roads and, of course, the weather situation in different cities and different towns in the country before we get into the keynote speech that was going on earlier before. All right, it is exactly 35 minutes past 7 a.m. and I'm looking at different routes leading to town. From what I see right now, not so much to report on, but just as expected on Thika Road, I'm seeing there is a snarl up. Not so much today because it's just from Madare all the way to the Muthaiga interchange, and today this is not as heavy or as slow as we always see. So that is the only way that I'm seeing snarl up tributaries leading to town as at 7:35 a.m. and also this is affecting those people coming from Embakasi and joining to Mombasa Road through Imara Daima. There is also slow down or snarl up on that route. So if you're using that route, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. Other tributaries leading to town, not so much to report on at this hour, except if you're entering town through downtown, that is through the bus station and through Gikomba. If you're using those routes getting to town, you're also going to be staying on that route for quite some time. This is affecting those joining town through that is Jogo Road. If you're using that route getting to town, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. And also definitely around Globe Roundabout, you're going to be staying around that place for quite some time. Those are people coming from Ngara. You're going to be staying on that route for quite some time. So those are the major routes that I'm seeing having snarl up this morning as at 7:35 or 37 a.m. this morning. Looking at the weather situation in the country according to Kenya Met, it is the month of December, and according to Kenya Met, it's a time when you're going to be having less rainfall in most parts of the country. That is according to Kenya Met, a report that was released 4 days ago, that throughout the month you're going to be having less rainfall, except of course for the northeastern region, which are going to be receiving below average rainfall, and to some they may receive depressed rainfall. Rainfall distribution is expected to be poor with prolonged dry spells through isolated though isolated heavy rainfall may occur in some areas. Temperatures are expected to be warmer than average with prolonged heat affecting both the day and night. If you've not noticed that, then it's time to notice it. That is in the month of December 2025. So basically in most parts of the country it's going to be warmer with less rainfall, except for the northeastern region where it's going to be having generally depressed rainfall. That is on the weather update this morning, and of course in various cities of the country. Just to give a brief overview of the current state, especially in Nairobi and the major cities, Nairobi, the coastal region, the Nyanza region, the coastal region. Taking a look at, this is Nairobi. Right now, it is 18 degrees Celsius, and it feels like 18, partly cloudy throughout the day. No sign of precipitation in the central business district. Going back to the coastal region, and today we'll be taking a look at Kilifi. It is 27 degrees Celsius, feels like 31 degrees Celsius, quite warm. And throughout the day, there is no sign of precipitation. Taking a look at the Rift Valley region, and today we are taking a focus on Eldoret. It is 15 degrees Celsius. It feels like 14 degrees Celsius. Throughout the day, no sign of precipitation, and they'll be receiving highs of up to 24 degrees Celsius. In the western region, specifically in Kakamega, right now it is 19 degrees Celsius, and it feels like 25 degrees Celsius. Throughout the day, no sign of precipitation. but they'll be receiving the high temperatures of up to 31 degrees Celsius. And back to the northern region, it is now 27 degrees Celsius, almost similar to what is happening in the coastal region. It feels like 29 degrees Celsius throughout the day, no sign of precipitation, and they'll be receiving highs of up to 36 degrees Celsius throughout the day. That's around 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. That's when they'll be receiving highs of 36 degrees Celsius. That is on the weather update in different cities across the country. And at this time, I would like us to proceed with what we were looking at Kenyatta University. We are heading towards the 58th graduation. So I'll be having us take a listen to the keynote speech of the postgraduates seminar that happened right here at Kenyatta University campus in the previous week.
One of whom is the Executive Dean of the School of Law, Professor Minja. I acknowledge you in a special way. I also want to acknowledge in a special way Professor Nelson Wawire. Nelson was my lecturer in 1996. There's a unit called Advanced Microeconomics. He was also my supervisor in the MBA course where I graduated in 2005. Besides that, Professor Wawire is also the inaugural chairman of one of my agencies in Kakamega County called Kakamega County Investment Agency. That's why I have a lot of respect for him. Members of the university management present here today, esteemed faculty, PhD graduates, class of 2025, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning once again. It is a profound honor to join you today as this great university prepares for its 58th graduation ceremony. This graduate seminar, appropriately themed Innovating Education and Research for the Digital World, is a particularly critical event as it's the epitome of the rigor and resilience, emblematic of higher studies at the critical juncture when it pushes to new frontiers of knowledge. For this privilege that the university has so graciously extended to me this morning, I wish to thank the Vice Chancellor and the university for honoring me to be the keynote address in this ceremony today. This 50th graduate seminar speaks of an established tradition of celebrating new knowledge. Let me take this opportunity to celebrate this university for the contribution it has made to this country and region through research and innovation, and also to congratulate the selected PhD graduates in this seminar who are representing many others. A big round of applause to all of you. It is not by default that Kenyatta University has been ranked the best university second year running. It is because of what this university has done in Kenya and also around the world. This invite has come at a time when my identity as a technocrat is almost being completely blurred by my new identity as a politician. And this makes my position as a speaker here today a bit precarious. Nonetheless, I am encouraged by two reasons to offer my thoughts to this audience. Number one, I am a creation of this university. As the Vice Chancellor said, I was a student here, stroke 92. I graduated with a BCom accounting in 1997. I came back here in 2003. I did my master's in business administration, and I graduated in 2005. In 2020, I still came back here. That time I was serving as the CEO of KUTV and registered as a PhD student in the Department of Public Policy and Management. And I'm glad today that I'm standing before my fellow graduates to offer this address. It's not a mean achievement, and I'm really truly honored. So when I say that this university is my home, you can clearly understand the journey that I've walked, and I'm who I am because of Kenyatta University. Makofi hapo. Number two, I've had the privilege of serving at pole positions in a number of critical organizations in this country, which makes me to believe that, coupled with experience of my current office, I should make my modest contribution in a session like this. Today's theme speaks of the broadened responsibility of a researcher, by extension, an ideal university. The interconnectedness characterizes our existence now suggests shared joys and challenges. The digital era is a space of easily shared curiosities and rigor. Within this shared space abounds not only endless possibilities, but also responsibilities. The digital era has transformed how we live, how we govern, and how we understand each other. That is why in my current responsibility, when you are going to address people, you are very careful of what you say, because before you end your speech, the world is already aware of what you are talking about. And that is the impact of the digital era. Yet as scholars, you know that technology is not neutral. It shapes societies, influences power dynamics, and it raises profound questions about equity, justice, and human dignity. Technology has significantly enhanced footprints of democracy's pathways, yet a critical eye can still detect the embedded inequalities often defined by how well societies domesticate technology itself. Therefore, amid the rising cacophony of voices of the global intellectual, we need to ensure that ours is heard too. For there is unmatched authenticity in having people living through problems, trying to solve them. Our researchers have to raise with first propositions of how to handle African challenges. Our presenters this morning represent these noble voices. They have shown that not just responsibility, but also courage and determination. To paraphrase Steve Jobs, they have been crazy enough to think they can change the world and they're doing so. Kenya, like a number of other African countries, is still experiencing high levels of poverty, inequality, youth unemployment, and transparency and accountability deficits. Most people around agree as a country that we may not achieve our dream of economic growth, including being a first world country in 30 years, despite our potential, if in the first place we did not have a proper analysis of our challenges. The fact that the political institutions, the academia, and industry seem not aligned in the understanding of what one must perceive as a development status should send the clearest signal of the danger that we are in. It's my humble submission this morning that the university has its unquestionable place in solving this crisis and propelling our society forward. But I also urge and argue that the fruits of the rigorous work undertaken by our researchers should go further than this seminar room. My sentiments on this are better captured by one of the greatest African statesmen, politician, and public intellectual, Thabo Mbeki, in what he said at the inaugural Times Higher Education University Summit, which was held at the University of Johannesburg 10 years ago. In his view, there is still the danger of African higher education research agenda tending to focus on purely academic and scientific objectives in order to ensure publication is referred journals with little to developmental needs because of the publish or perish syndrome. This point may sound like a rehash of what many in the academia may consider as uniformed and generalized judgment by outsiders. But for me, it is a genuine call for the evaluation of how the knowledge industry in general and the university in particular engages other critical institutions in responding to our country's development challenges. In other words, at a time when we have an overload of information, conceptions, and framed solutions to challenges from all over the world, the great to focus on the immediate issues threatening our existence and progress rather than being swallowed in the sway and array of secondary threats that is important. Ladies and gentlemen, the research component which this university so vigorously promotes is aligned to Aspiration 1 of Agenda 2063, which envisions a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development through development of human and social capital and education skills renovation and emphasizes on innovation, science, and technology. This research seminar, therefore, is embedded in the university's mission, which is to provide quality education and training, promote scholarship, foster innovation and creativity for the sustainable development of individuals and society. It is clear, though, that a robust and qualified faculty, a clear vision, and a very progressive administration, there have been challenges in optimizing not just the research function, but also its impact to society. This is not a Kenyatta University challenge, not perhaps a Kenyan university challenge, but a challenge in many of our institutions of higher learning in Africa. It is my view, therefore, that lack of a coherent framework of engagement between the state, academia, and industry has occasioned serious challenges in the effective implementation of the research function in our institutions of higher learning. Currently, most of our public universities are struggling under heavy burdens of debt, with most of their operational components and development components underfunded. This in itself dents the university's image as a prestigious institution which should offer solutions to the national and global challenges. The National Research Fund, a state corporation established under the Science, Technology and Innovation Act number 28, section 32 of 2013, is wholly underfunded. Despite our legal requirements for it to be allocated at least 2% of GDP, in the financial year 2023-2024, it was only allocated 343 million out of an estimated and expected budget of 200 billion Kenya shillings. The implication is that most proposals which would have deserved funding to solve some of the national challenges end up being left out. Failure to allocate funds for research has the impact of compromising the state's legitimacy to even look forward to the research institutions' contributions and conversations on development. I know one of the pillars for this government is on issues of digital economy. Without investing a lot and being appropriately funded, then all these research recommendations will not be fulfilled. This situation has been exacerbated by the emergence of expert consultants, some of whom leverage on political connections to purport to offer solutions to our development challenges. It is my considered view that establishment of think tanks in our universities and mainstreaming them in the development conversations of our state institutions as an alternative to our popular versions of consultants will significantly propel our countries to greater development. Ladies and gentlemen, industry too seem to have little motivation or framework of engaging research institutions such as universities to grow both their interests and national development goals. We may therefore say that we have some kind of disconnect between key institutions which otherwise would have worked together to promote research and innovation. There is some silver lining here. In Kenya, for example, the State Department for Technical, Vocational Education and Training, TVET, is actively and extensively collaborating with industry partners. This groundbreaking partnership is quickly emerging as the cornerstone of the government's strategy to bridge the skills gap, improve graduate employability, and align training with the actual demands of the labor market. I am aware that this great university has previously worked with state institutions, including some formations in the security sector. This close relationship between complementary institutions for skills transfer, training, and relearning is a fundamental aspect of education for the development of this country for the digital world. As a way forward, Hans Weiler, in his article, Whose Knowledge Matters, provides hints to the possibility of a subtle state intention for the decisions they make on funding university research and innovation. In Weiler's view, the academia, like other social, political, and economic institutions, suffer from some form of hegemonies. A similar approach applies for the allocation of grants, which mostly come from more developed countries to support our local researchers. This explains why certain parts of research and innovation may easily be promoted through grants, while others may fail to attract funding. As to whether all researchers that easily attract funding are of critical value to our local social, economic, and political priorities, it remains another question altogether. What one observes from the obtaining situation, however, is the need to review a framework of engagement between the state, academia, and industry, so as to have a more intimate and complementary relationship. There is no dispute that universities remain the hallowed place for research and incubation of knowledge. What is lacking is the goodwill from other stakeholders to support the human potential, the zeal of our researchers in knowledge creation. In reference to the allocation of the National Research Fund cited above, perhaps the law should be reviewed to include an enforcement mechanism in the implementation of the legally prescribed financing to the body for optimum operation. I know this is a conversation that you can push through during the budget making process. We'll try to push the National Treasury at least to have the views from professionals, and this time round, for the budget making process of 2026-2027. I want to challenge our researchers to come out and give proposals where we sit at the Council of Governors as the finance chair. We're also going to push this agenda of appropriately funding research programs so that we can transform this country. Further, industry may be motivated to support research initiatives by enacting laws and developing policies that clarify the business values in such engagements. So yes, this engagement should bring a better understanding between these institutions and could pull research and innovation a little bit away from traditional academics to planes where real challenges are faced so as to solve them. But this may not be achieved if university management themselves do not set the example by prioritizing research through allocating reasonable budgets to support the faculty and by setting up the necessary enabling infrastructure, including information communication technologies. Dear scholars, as part of the commitment to our collective development agenda 2063, African governments committed themselves to expand an African knowledge society through transformation and investments in universities, science, technology, research, and innovation, as well as harmonization of educational standards and mutual recognition of academic and professional qualifications, as well as to establish an African accreditation agency to develop and monitor educational quality standards across the continent. Beyond this commitment, it falls largely on the shoulders of the academia to ensure that this commitment is met. From where I sit, it's important for all of us to work together to ensure universities perform their functions effectively. As a governor of Kakamega County, I have witnessed how innovation in education can be a game changer for our counties and the nation at large. Competence-based education with renewed technology in classrooms reach students in the most remote areas, enabling learning beyond physical boundaries. Data analytics help us design evidence and, of course, based on policies, they are more responsive to the needs of our people. Digital platforms create spaces for civic engagement. where voices that were once marginalized are now part of the conversation. But you also see the challenge, the digital divide, misinformation, the erosion of privacy, and the speed at which change outpaces our laws. This is where research becomes a beacon. To you, my fellow graduates, your PhD work is uniquely positioned to address these complexities. I not just encourage you to study the digital world, I urge you to shape it. Create actionable solutions. Build products that have potential to enhance effective and efficient service delivery. Develop frameworks that make technology a force for equity, inclusion, diversity, and progress. In this regard, I hereby propose 3 pathways to make your PhD count in this ever-changing digital landscape. Number 1 is to embrace interdisciplinarity. The boundaries between your specific disciplines are blurring. Collaborate fearlessly. Blend your expertise and, of course, with data science, AI, design thinking, to create solutions that are human-centered and impactful. The second pathway is translate research into action. Do not let your evidence-based findings and recommendations gather dust. Partner with startups, governments, NGOs, and industry. Develop sustainable solutions that simplify access to legal aid, platforms that counter disinformation, or models that predict and mitigate harm on society. Your PhD is a license to lead, not just a credential. The third pathway is to prioritize impact over ivory towers. The digital world needs solutions that work for everyone. Focus on accessibility, affordability, and ethical and responsible conduct. Always ask yourself, how does my research improve lives? How does it make the digital space more just? Involve community.
Everybody has been talking, the 2%, and it has remained at top. So he's reminding us that this time you need to walk the talk. Asante sana.
Once again, Your Excellency, as the Vice Chancellor presents the symbol of an elephant and its young version, and this is a symbol of your intellect, your wisdom, your leadership, and your enduring strength. Kindly receive. Thank you. We shall get you to the next.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned with us this morning on Matters Education, and that is specifically on research, not research, but evidence-based research that drives change in the society. That is something that we should be embracing. That is according to the speeches that we have been listening right there on the postgraduate conference or seminar that happened in Kenyatta University in the previous week. At this point, I want us to take a look at what is shaping the world of news this morning. And to kick us off, we have the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC Chairperson Dung Ethekon, issued a detailed update on the recently concluded by-elections, outlining the key challenges encountered during the process. Ethekon commended security agencies for maintaining vigilance, even as isolated incidents of violence were reported in areas such as Mbeere North. He firmly defended the Commission's neutrality, dismissing claims that certain candidates received preferential treatment. According to Ethekon, all IEBC decisions are properly documented and open for scrutiny. The chairperson urged citizens to report electoral misconduct directly to the Commission rather than allowing tensions to escalate into violence on polling day. Now on to a sad news. A sorrowful atmosphere engulfed Mitengero village in Nyansancha sublocation, Nyaribari Chache constituency, after horrific defilement and murder of a 13-year-old Purity Atisia, a grade 9 pupil at Ekorubo Comprehensive School. Our reporter Glory Kathure now brings us more details on the tragic incident.
At 3 p.m. It was on the 4th of December 2025 when a 13-year-old girl, Purity Atisia, went missing. She had excused herself to fetch water while grazing cows with her sister at 3 p.m. but failed to return home that evening.
Hii kisa yenye ilifanyika hapa Nyansancha Mitengero, ni mtoto wangu ndiye alikuja akafanyia kitendo na sasa amekufa yuko sasa. Sasa hiyo siku yenye alienda walienda na sister yake kwenda huko. Sasa walikuwa wanalisha ng'ombe tu huko barabarani tu.
Hours later, local authorities were notified and secured the scene after the victim's father, Nelson Atisia, appealed for assistance from relevant authorities to speed up the investigation and bring the culprits into book. Purity's grandmother, Scholastica Atisia, said that the incident was shocking as they now fear sending their daughters out of the compound to fetch water.
Huyu mtoto sasa ilikuwa kitu kama saa 9 hivi, saa 10 huyu mtoto alipotea kutoka hapo. Sasa tukamkuta tu jioni hivi, alikuwa ameaga tayari, amekufa. Sasa kutoka hapo naambia sasa serikali mfuatilie hiyo, tujue ni huyu mtoto wangu alikufa namna gani.
The area acting chief Joseph Mandi said that the investigation officers have already taken over the matter. He urged people with any information to volunteer it for a speedy investigation and assured members to be calm as they await the outcome.
Kesi iko kwa uchunguzi sababu maaskari walichukua hiyo kesi. Kwa hivyo tunangoja watuletee majibu. Wakati huu msimu watoto wako nje, msimu huu wakati wa likizo, nilikuwa naomba wazazi waajibike, wajaribu kuangalia watoto wao, waweke tu karibu na wao ama karibu kwa boma.
An aunt to the deceased, Jane Abraham, insisted that the suspects are within the village and urged residents to cooperate with investigators. Community leaders, including Onsare Oigo and Andrew Ochomba, also appealed to security agencies to help secure justice for the bereaved family.
Kwa hivyo wameongeleshwa vizuri, wameambiwa waweze kuendelea kufanya investigation pole, waweze kuleta wahalifu, wajulikane kwa sababu ni watu wa hapa karibu. Maana tendo hili bwana chief ameongelea likifunikiwa litaendelea tena kesho ni kwa nyumba nyingine tena kwa mwingine, kwa sababu ili likifunikiwa itaendelea kuenea, na hiyo sasa ndio walifu wa watoto wadogo kuanza kufanyiwa kitendo cha unyama wa raping. Hata wamama wataogopa kwenda soko kwa sababu wakiwa wanatoka soko.
The body was taken to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital where it awaits a postmortem examination. The outcome is expected to shed light on the cause of death and guide the ongoing investigation. Reporting for KUTV, I am Glory Kadhure. was on the 4th of December 2025 when a 13-year-old girl
Thank you, Glory. Now on to politics. Geoffrey Ruku, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, has criticized former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, accusing him of misleading the public by claiming to command the Mount Kenya voting bloc. This comes in the wake of the just concluded by-elections, where UDA's strong performance in the region appeared to undercut Gachagua's influence. Take a look.
The politics of the mountain has continued to spark mixed reaction, particularly on who speak for the region. Former Deputy President has been positioning himself as the new kingpin, something that has been highly criticized by DP Kithure Kindiki, supporters who see the current DP as their voice.
Na sisi kona ile ya mlima tuliamua juzi, tukafukuza wale wakora, tukawaambia wakwende. Wamekuwa nastua watu, ati wanapiga ndepe, wanapiga mdomo, ati wakisema wao ndio maarufu katika mlima. Juzi tuliwaambia mchana, Rais William Ruto, angali yako uongozini, angali yako maarufu.
Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku is one of the key leaders who have been calling out Gachagua for what he have termed as a move to force himself into the leadership of the region, stating that he is of no relevance in today's politics.
Na ikifika 2027, mambo ya Rais William Ruto ni tu tam, ni tu tam, ni tu tam. Sindio hiyo? Hiyo ndio tulielezea. Na nataka pia niwaambie nikiwa hapa. Wewe Rigathi Gachagua, wewe Rigiji, ulikuwa nafikiria umeweka kura ya mlima kwa mfuko yako. Watu ya Mbeere North waliongea juu ya watu wote wa mlima ya kwamba kura ya watu ya mlima iko katika mfuko wa William Samoei Ruto.
According to Ruku, Gachagua cannot claim to be in charge of the whole Mount Kenya region if he was unable to mobilize supporters for his favored candidate in Mbeere North. He claimed that the results of the by-election should be seen as a clear indication that people of Mount Kenya have decided to solidly support President Ruto.
Sindio hiyo? Hapa mnasema ni tutam? Mnasema ni tutam? Hebu nione tutam ya Mheshimiwa William Ruto, tutam. Na kona ile ingine ya mlima tunasema Profesa Kithure Kindiki ni 4 term. Tunasema nini? Tunasema nini? Hebu nione 4 term ya Mheshimiwa Kindiki, 4 term.
Ruku claims that the government is aggressively promoting programs and projects meant to improve communities all around the nation, reassuring people that no area will be left behind. He maintained that cooperation is necessary for the nation to achieve its common objective under President Ruto's leadership, and urged the politicians to prioritize unity and development over political brinkmanship. Rael Makona, KUTV.
Now on to early Christmas. In the event at Naiblom village in Laikipia West constituency, Peter Kuria, who overcame poverty as a child, stated that he had chosen to return to his birth village to share his blessing as a token of gratitude during the holiday season. Kuria, who is now an educationist, described how despite being a bright student, he left school to work as a herds boy. Only the villagers served him, paying for his education with harambes all the way to university. Religious leaders led the service, which was an emotional reunion with their peasants and a call for successful people to give back to their birthplaces as a token of gratitude.
So siku ya leo sisi tuliona ni vizuri tukuje tuombe baraka kwa wazazi wetu. Na kuomba baraka ni kitu moja peke yake, huwezi barikiwa mkono tupu. So tumeleta blanketi kwa wazazi wetu, zile zinaitwa dufe, ile ambayo ni iko na seti ya 4, na pia tumeleta unga kidogo ya kupika chapati, ili wakati sikukuu inaendelea wapate pia kufanya nini? Kusherehekea na wale wengine. Na hatua lingine ni kuomba baraka na tuendelee namna hiyo. Na hiyo sio ya mwisho, huu ni mwanzo. Huu ni mwanzo, tutaendelea namna hiyo na tutaenda kila mahali tukiambia wazazi, ombeeni sisi na tushirikieni. Watoto wetu tunajua watatufuata nyuma. Hivyo tushikane pamoja na tuendelee namna hiyo.
Nimeshukuru kwa vile ameonyesha ukarimu wake kunipatia kitu ya malazi. Sasa ninaona ya kwamba nitakuwa nikipata joto na nitakuwa nikilala usingizi mzuri. Kwa hivyo habari.
Now, the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife has praised the private sector for its central role in expanding Kenya's tourism industry. Speaking at the official opening of the week-long tourism exhibition at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC, Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano noted that the businesses and experiences driving the sector's growth are largely private sector-owned.
The International Convention Center's KICC week-long tourism exhibition official opening, Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano pointed out that the businesses and experiences that propel the industry are owned by the private sector. At the same time, the CS revealed that homestays and Airbnb facilities were not included in the 5.1 million domestic benefits reported in 2024, suggesting that the domestic segment is a crucial sector pillar. The CS urged Kenyans to actively take part in the event celebration of the tourist sector.
Tourism adds significantly to the GDP of this country. We are edging closer to the 10% mark of contribution to the GDP in terms of earnings. We are well aware that in 2024, the sector contributed over 452 billion Kenya shillings. It is also a strong source of foreign earnings or foreign currency. We are aware it is a source of employment, currently supporting more than 3 million Kenyans.
John Ololtua, the Principal Secretary for Tourism, highlighted Jamhuri Week's goal of making Kenya's tourism industry a pillar of economic expansion. The nation hopes to welcome 5 million foreign tourists by 2027, with the potential to produce 1.1 trillion shillings.
Directly and indirectly, we are profoundly aware of the commitment that the county has of realizing the vision of Nairobi as a world-class metropolis. And I must say that indeed we share with the county the sentiment that Kenya's capital, which is Nairobi, is our political and economic and tourism and everything center. What we expect from this week is to spotlight, showcase the importance of tourism. Like our chairman has said, it will be a real extravaganza. But apart from all that, we look forward to policy pronouncements.
Kenya aims to attract 3 million tourists and earn 560 billion shillings by the end of the year. The sector's employment has increased significantly, highlighting its significance in fostering general job development, since young people make up to 80% of the workforce. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV.
Thank you, Caroline. Now that we are talking of matters business, remember there's an update that you can contribute to the finance bill, that is the tax law of the year 2026-2027. And you are to submit your proposal on the amendments that you desire for it to be included. The deadline is on the 31st of December 2025. So if you have those amendments, you can begin sending them in soft copy, hard copy to the Treasury for it to be included in the next year's finance bill. Now, moving on with our news this morning, the ETSA community leadership has issued a statement to Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi calling for greater inclusivity and fair representation. Mudavadi, who also serves as the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, said the government is ready to work closely with the ETSO people to advance constructive and forward-looking change. He noted that the key points in the community's memorandum, which focus on enhanced participation, affirmative action, and formal administrative recognition, are both relevant and achievable. Now, local fishermen in Kilifi are clashing with a Chinese company over the ownership of a pier at the Mnarani Beach landing site. The fishermen have thrown their support behind a former Kenyan Navy officer turned boat builder who has taken over part of the pier to construct 4 large government fishing vessels under his South Sea Services Kilifi Ship project. On the other side is China Communications Construction Company Limited, which also claims rights to the same space. Listen in.
In protest of the alleged persecution of local investor, locals, especially fishermen, staged protests stating that the Chinese business had originally used the pier to transport building supplies for Lamu Port, which development was finished more than 2 years ago, and that the pier had remained unutilized.
Tumekuwa tuko hapa lakini kazi hatuna. Na kitu cha muhimu tunataka kazi. Tunataka hii kampuni ifunguliwe na sisi tuandikwe kazi tufanye kazi. Lakini tumekaa hapa, kampuni ziko kitambo hapa lakini hakuna kazi tutapewa. Kwa hivyo tunataka msaada kwa hii kampuni na sisi tuandikwe kazi, tuwe watu wenyeji ambao wafanya kazi hapa.
Naitwa Rashida Mohamed, ni mkaazi hapa Mnarani. Nimezaliwa hapa na kila kitu changu. Tumepata hii kampuni ya kwanza ya China, walikuwa hapa kwa muda mrefu karibu miaka 5, sasa ni 7. Wamefanya kazi, hawakutuandikia vijana wetu kazi. Barabara wameharibu. Pia nafikiri mkipiga picha mtaziona hizo barabara vile zilivyo. Tuomba zipigwe picha. Na kitu kingine, majumba yameharibika,
According to Mohamed Shosi, the chairperson of the Kilifi County Beach Management Unit, the local investor has all the necessary legal documentation to use the pier in order to build the boats that will be given to local fishermen as part of the Blue Economy project.
Kuna hiyo tamaa, maana kwa jamaa tuko naye tumemwona anatupeleka vizuri. Hata Wachina hawajawahi kutuita hapa chini ku community na sisi kukaa na sisi hata siku moja. Huyu jamaa kila mara anatuhitaji, tunamsikiza na yeye atusikiza. Kwa sababu kama itakuwa kuna mgogoro huku na huku itakuwa ni shida kwa wananchi. Sisi mume wetu mgogoro uishe kabisa. Kama ni kukabidhiwa huyu akabidhiwe, tuendelee naye na kazi. Hiyo ndio kitu muhimu.
In his remarks, Kilifi Governor Gideon Mung'aro threatened to take action against the Chinese businessman if he continued to harass Kenyans for his profits.
Akafuata taratibu zile ambazo zinasibu ili kupata ile nafasi. Alichukua taratibu za kufuata paka akapata paka itwaje leseni hapa mahali. Imefikia mahali sasa Wachina sasa hatujui ni njia gani wanatumia ili kupata hii nafasi. Sasa sisi letu ni moja. Hatuna haja ya kwamba tupate Mchina eti kwa sababu ni investor kutoka nje ndio atufaa. Hata tunaweza pata investor kutoka hapa ndani na akatufaa.
The fishermen are in support of a former Kenya Navy officer who is now a boat builder who has taken over a portion of the pier and is building 4 large fishing vessels, while China Communications Construction Company Limited is a Chinese company. Glory Kadure, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now, just across our borders, after last month's election-related unrest, Tanzanian police have declared that nationwide protest planned for today, that is the 9th of December, will be legal. The announcement raises fears of renewed clashes after President Samia Suluhu Hassan was declared the overwhelming winner of the October polls, an outcome that triggered demonstrations fueled by claims from activists that the government is cracking down on dissent. Rights groups, opposition parties, and the UN assert that hundreds may have been killed in confrontations between protesters and security forces, allegations the government dismisses as exaggerated, while maintaining it does not suppress opposition voices. Police spokesperson David Misime says officers seen online for calls demonstrations on December 9th, but have not received any official notification from organizers. All right, it is the 9th of December, and the Tanzanian government has told the Tanzanians citizens to have the celebration of the Independence Day indoors, unless you're having special work or you're a caregiver or something that really requires you to get out. Tanzanians are told to stay home for the Independence Day. That brings us to the end of our news tonight. Stay tuned for more. Apologies, I just realized I said this night. It's this morning. Now, during a special ceremony held to honor staff members who retired in June this year, Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor Professor Paul Wainaina announced that he too is nearing retirement. Professor Wainaina expressed his gratitude to the retirees, praising their years of service and commitment to the university. The event is part of Kenyatta University's ongoing efforts to celebrate and recognize the contributions of its retiring staff. Now let's take a look at what shaped discussions during the event.
It is, I say, a watershed moment, I believe, for many of us. You, our retirees, who are here this morning with us. I see bright faces. Turn to your neighbor and say, God is good. Shake their hands. Shake their hands firmly to show them how strong you are. Yeah. You know, retirement is a very emotional thing. Some of us will be approaching it in the next few years. You guys are already living retirement. And I think for me, it is important sometimes to reflect back on your careers, on your lives. And what I can say is, I'm sure you're reflecting back with a lot of pride. The part you have played in this great institution.
Jamii. Kupanda shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke akabaini jinsi ya kuweni. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake nami Caroline Kimwele.
In a world transforming through technology, innovation is not just our pursuit, it's our purpose. At Kenyatta University, we lead through research, powering ideas that shape industries, communities, and nations. Our partnerships span continents, connecting visionaries, scholars, and change makers. Here, every breakthrough has a human story. Every success begins with curiosity and grows through courage. Today, we celebrate that spirit in every graduate ready to imagine the world Because tomorrow doesn't wait, it begins here. Kenyatta University will hold the 58th graduation ceremony on 19th Friday, December 2025 from 8 a.m. at KU Main Campus Graduation Square. The ceremony will also be streamed live on KUTV and radio, YouTube and KU website and social media. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 0208703092 or 0786335111 or visit the KU website at www.ku.ac.ke. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives.
Are you ready to take charge of your health? Welcome to Focus on Health, your weekly guide to staying informed and living better. Join me every week as I sit down with trusted medical experts.
Gynecology is basically a field concerned with mainly the female genitalia.
Explore real-life stories
during when the patient come in
and bring you updates and tips that are beneficial to your health. Because health isn't just important, it is everything. Tune in to Focus on Health every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. I'm your host, Kandia Marian, and I'll see you then.
For many of us, you, our retirees, who are here this morning with us. I see bright faces. Turn to your neighbor and say, God is good. Shake their hands. Shake their hands firmly to show them how strong you are. Yeah. You know, retirement is a very emotional thing. Some of us will be approaching it in the next few years. You guys are already living retirement. And I think for me, it is important sometimes to reflect back on your careers, on your lives. And what I can say is, I'm sure you're reflecting back with a lot of pride. The part you have played in this great institution. I was just talking to Sila. He joined this institution in 1982. And I'm sure many of you joined this institution maybe around that time or later. You've done 30 plus, 20 plus years in this institution. And I think for me, when you reflect back on the part you've played in the growth of this institution, it's important that you become proud of you. I'm sure when you came in 1982, is it half of this institution was not built, if I'm not wrong? Was it half or a quarter? 1982 was the year there was a coup. So when you mentioned that, I remember I was a young man staying in Kahawa Barracks, and we used to come to KU for swimming. So there are great memories in this institution. So I'm sure you guys, as you live with pride, your heads held up high, and the fact that you've played a critical role in the growth of this institution. Not only this institution, but this country. Because this is a fountain of knowledge, VC. And the part that each one of you has played, I'm sure in one way or another, has gone a long way to make this country develop. So reflect upon that and be proud, whatever role you played, whether you are a lecturer, a professor, an accountant, you played a great role. And to me is to ask you to look at that with a lot of pride and give yourselves a round of applause for the part that you played. I think getting to the next phase, it is important to look at what is it that you're expecting. You're already experiencing it, I'm sure. And I just want to speak on a few issues. Financial planning, and I'm sure you've been taken through this, health and wellness, your lifestyle and happiness, and legacy and family. When you are in employment, you have an income, a steady source of income every other month that is coming. You're able to meet your obligations, whether it's school fees, whether it's your loans, raise up your children, contribute in funerals, in weddings, etc. Because you have a steady source of income. I know there's still a steady source of income that is coming, but the only difference is that it is what? It is reduced. So it is you to be very selfish with yourself. I know many of us are generous. You may want to continue supporting, but you get to a point now when you start to think about yourself. And it doesn't hurt if somebody comes for help and you're saying, I'm sorry, I can't be able to help you. Because remember, the income that you had is no longer there. So it is important for you to plan your finances very, very well and be selfish. Think about yourself. Always think about yourself. Issues around wealth, health, and wellness. It is very, very important. It is said the 3 keys to a long, happy retirement. You must have purpose, you must have movement, and you must have social connection. You had a purpose when you joined this institution, and you delivered on your purpose. The fact that you've gotten to retirement means you played your part. So what is your purpose in the next phase of life? If you have not identified that purpose, please think deeply about that purpose. That will keep you going. Social connection. We are social beings as human beings. So, do you have that social connection? When we come to work, or when you are coming to work, there were people around you you talk to every other time. You will interact, you will laugh, you will go for events. But in retirement, make sure you maintain that social connection. Do not be a loner. And we are reminded that when retirement age reaches and you don't have a social network around you, it can be a long, lonely retirement. And we have seen stories of people who maybe during their working life never created those social networks, and then they end up being lonely. So whether you'll be in Nairobi or whether you're in the village, you must integrate with people out there. So I want to encourage all of us, as you go into retirement, make sure you have social connection. And studies show that retirees with a strong sense of purpose live an extra 7 years longer. So if you are to live up to 80, but because you move around, you talk to people, your life is elongated. Exercise. For retirees, you don't need to do a lot of exercise. The average, you're told, walk 7,000 to 8,000 steps every day. It reduces the risk of aging faster. Loneliness is dangerous. And they say it's as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So make sure you have those connections. I know women are very good in that. They have chamas, they go to church. Men, I think we need to do a lot to make sure that we connect socially. Whether it's in church, with our friends, let's meet up, let's talk, let's vent. Women are very good in venting, and that is what keeps them going. They will have issues, they will call their fellow friends, they go, they talk, they laugh, they cry, but at the end of the day, they are healed. Men, let's not bottle up issues that we have. Retirement can be a long, lonely life if we do not connect socially. Okay? So, lifestyle and happiness, it is important. We're told the happiest retirees replace their work identity with a new portfolio of identities. So look for something to do. Mentor the young ones. Be a volunteer. Take care of your grandchildren. Have that purpose. Look for something to do. And you will fulfill your life to the fullest. So it is important that you have that. The final one I want to talk about is what legacy do you think you have left up to this point, and what legacy do you think you want to continue imparting on the younger people, on society? So it is important to think about that. And we are told the most precious inheritance you can leave isn't money. It's not money. Sometimes we work hard, we want to make sure that our children, they have money, but I can bet, and we have seen all these things happening. When you leave money to children without mentoring them, what do? The moment you go down, they sell all those assets. They waste all that money. So the best legacy you can leave is not money. It's the stories you tell your children. It's how you mentor them. It's the wisdom you share. So it is important that we think it's not about money, but the legacy, the mentoring we do, the stories we pass, our experiences in life, the challenges we went through, and how we managed to surpass those challenges. Continuously talk with your kids, with your relatives. Yeah. So, what are your healthcare wishes? Take care of your health. It is important at this retirement age. So, to me, I want to close by first thanking God that I've had this opportunity to talk to retirees. That you, as former KU members, and you're still KU members, played an important role in the growth of this institution, and you need to continuously be proud about it. I'm sure from time to time you can be able to create a network, create that network, reach out to one another, speak to one another, share your challenges, and I am sure you're going to enjoy your retirement age. So as I conclude, I want once more to thank you for the part that you have played. And as you get into the next phase in life, may our Almighty God bless you and keep you and give you favor. Amen.
I am given two things to share with you. And these things, I'm not going to talk like Anasila has talked. Mine, I'm told to say about my own experience. After I was released, after you released me, how am I managed myself? And how I'm still active in the society. So I have only those two things, and I've given very little time to share that. So allow me, before I get to those two items, just to indicate that we retire not on our own volition. It's something that our Creator has determined. You don't choose. It is already set for you by our Creator. And those who read the Bible, if you go to the book of Psalm 90 verse 10, the Bible says that our days, and that's why it is already set, our days are or can reach 70 years or 80 years, and I'm sure you can complete there. After that, many things. In our Registrar Corporate Affairs, Professor Nawili, members of management scheme, chairman here, and Mr. Sila, who just spoken to us, members of the trustees, seen my colleague, Dr. Njoroge there, and retirees, good morning. Good morning again. Yes, God is good, and all the time. Yes, that is His nature. And for me, as you have heard, my name is Professor Michael Gichero, studying in for Professor Paul Okemo, who is away, acting Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Administration and Finance. And my role this morning is to welcome the Vice Chancellor to address us. But let me also congratulate all of you, because indeed this is an achievement. Having walked the journey, served this great institution, seen it grow from a very humble, small institution to where it is, your contribution for over many, many years is highly, highly appreciated. We have come a long way. And for you to reach this far and get to the point of getting to the other phase of life, from working life, from working to another phase, which is retirement, really it takes the hand of God. Because if you reflect back many years, I've heard the story of Mr. Wambua, who was our, at some point, CFO or deputy CFO. If you reflect many years back, you came in, there are many colleagues who have not been able to reach this far. Somehow their life ended, they passed on. But I've seen smiling people in this congregation. I'm seeing happy people. I like the manager, what he has mentioned, that people are smiling, they look bright, they look younger. And that takes the hand of God. So turn to your neighbor and tell him, congratulations for coming this far. Indeed, it's just like when we graduate students. When they reach that far, we appreciate them. We want to appreciate you. We are very, very proud of you as an institution, because we know Kenyatta University is where it is because of your contribution as an individual. And I was making fun to Keegan and Dr. Dinga there from psychology, because I saw a memo talking about their leaving the department and a farewell party in the department. Then I asked myself, oh, because we are always interacting with Keegan, because with Keegan we have worked for many years. He was director in Royal campus, I was director in City campus, and we used to consult a lot. And even thereafter we have been consulting. The other day he came to my office following a thesis for a student, and he told me, you know, Prof, I have retired. And I looked back and I said, hey, time has really moved. So I really want to thank God. God is good all the time. Those advices we have received, those words that have come from the chairman of the trustee, from Mr. Wambua, and the one that are going to come from the Vice Chancellor, let's embrace them. We are releasing you with the blessings of this institution, and this institution has been your home for many years and always remain a place you can always be able to come and walk freely without feeling intimidated. And with those few remarks, let me invite the Vice Chancellor to come and speak to you. Let's appreciate him as he comes.
In terms of reading a speech. And this is because I think, first of all, whatever I'm going to say, I'll be saying to myself. I don't know whether you know that. Whatever I'm going to say, I'll also be addressing myself. This is because I have less than 2 months in the youth. So I'm one of you. Of course, there are some people, even the 2 months, they thought it was too long for me. So they are still insisting I need to step down. But God is good. First of all, again, I don't know whether I'm going to talk the way Wambua has talked. I'm also going to talk like VC because I'm there between, on the way actually. So Wambua was talking about experiences. He was talking about something coming from the horse's mouth. So I don't know whether I'm a horse, whether I'm still a VC. Obviously, there is one thing that we need to understand, that retirement obviously is going to affect you. And what is important is that, first of all, and this is something that all of us know, and you knew, that it is likely that the resources is going to decrease. But what is also important is that we are all human beings. We'll be able to adjust. Again, you are not growing younger. And the other thing that might come are diseases. Again, simply because your body is becoming weak. But as a VC, I want to say this. We have tried our best. And I think the manager knows things are very tough. I know I came back in April, and 2 months after that, of course, you left the KU. We know it is not easy. The economy is not very good, but at the area of pension, there's a lot of problems. But as KU, as the manager has tried to say, we have tried the best we could to make sure that at least whatever you saved, what was expected of us, we have been able to actually fulfill, because we know you have worked for KU. You have served the KU with distinction, so we are very happy about that. You can go wherever you can with your head high. We really respect you. Kabisa, kabisa. This is coming from somebody. I have not served the KU for 30 years, but at least I have served for over 20 years. Before I came, I had served elsewhere. And I know for me, it has been a privilege to serve KU. And I know you are feeling the same. So just to assure you, like the manager said, we are happy that under very difficult conditions, we have been able to do what is, of course, expected of us. But you also realize we have been ailing. Sometimes not being able to get our capitation because of the underfunding. That one is still there. But whatever else we gathered for you, I want to assure you, as a VC, that has been done. But as I said, obviously, it is not all money. It's not all resources about retirement. Again, I'm saying this because people are scared. And probably I'm getting scared myself that what is going to happen to me. Retirement is more than decrease of resources most of the time. What is really important is you to exercise that humanity that you have, being able to adjust. You started when you are young, you decided to get married, that was a space. You are able to adjust. You've been working. The issue of rearing of children, which you have gone through, again adjusting. But I would say positively, this is the last mile. When you are running the last mile, you are tired. But that should not stop you from actually getting to ile kamba. It's only that it will take some time to be there. So for me, you need to take life as it comes. But it is obvious if probably there are certain things you are doing which does not augur well with where you are going, again you need to actually adjust. Because for me, adjusting is one of the most important things in retirement. Being active, doing those exercises. But I think you are also likely to get the real people, the real friends. Why do I say this? You still have your friends, and some of them are real, but in employment, you do have friends that will no longer be your friend. Because those are friends who are looking at what they can benefit from you. We need to call a spade a spade. You have a few friends who I would say they are real. They are your friends, whether you are sick, whether you are happy. These are what I'm calling the real friends. when you retire, those fake friends will just appear. These are the people who I'm sure will be saying, muone sasa alikuwa anajigamba. Yes, I know that is what you are going through. I can only say, just forgive them, because you still have the real friends there. There are also challenges. You can even have challenges with the children. Again, you just need to adjust. And as Wambua has said, for you to start adjusting, you must accept. Just accept that. It is happening, and for you to keep busy, a human being is a social being. Try to share as you have been. Try to have activities where there are other people, so that humanity spreads. So to me, I just want to say it is important to psychologically admit and also see some positive aspect of that. Again, I'm saying this because people have been trying. When it comes now to retirement, they want to be added time. But remember, whether I add you 1 year, that time is going to come, and it is here now. It is there. So you have to leave it, actually. So, I want to join the people who are still working. I want to say we'll try to do the best we can. And remember here, again, I'm addressing myself. I'm asking them to take care of us. And for me, you are coming, the way I see you, I'm encouraged not to be so afraid. It is not that bad. It's a change. And actually, we are going to prevail. Sometimes challenges come when, because probably you are so engaged in your work, you may not have paid a lot of time to your family. Again, this is it's real. There's nothing to hide about. But the power you have as a human being.
Wishing well the staff members who retired in June this year, Professor Paul Wainaina, the Vice-Chancellor of Kenyatta University, did not hesitate to mention that he is also among those who will be retiring within the next 2 months.
Whatever I'm going to say, I'll be saying to myself. I don't know whether you know that. Whatever I'm going to say, I'll also be addressing myself. This is because I have less than 2 months in KU. So I'm one of you.
As the retirees received awards for their dedication, the Vice-Chancellor emphasized the importance of unity and positive engagement within their various communities. He encouraged them to embrace this stage of life as an important pillar that society ought to appreciate. Differentiating today's ceremony from the previous one, the Vice-Chancellor stated that retirees will begin receiving their pension funds more quickly.
I can tell you for the first time, I have a board that is professional, a board that actually cares for the workers, and that is why I can stand here and say, under the difficult circumstances, you are going to enjoy the retro pension that actually you have. Tuwapigie makofi hao.
Advice was issued to retirees to be exemplary figures and mirrors within society, with emphasis placed on health matters and how to manage life after retirement.
Issues around wealth, health, and wellness. It is very, very important. It is said the 3 keys to a long, happy retirement: you must have purpose, you must have movement, and you must have social connection. As my Fanasila said, you can now also help us or help this age. It can help you to create legacies which you couldn't do when you are young. There are things that can be done only by old people.
This appreciation event underscores Kenyatta University's commitment to recognizing dedication and contribution to its long-serving staff as they enter their retirement phase. Rajab Juma, KUTV.
All right, those have been conversations surrounding retirement of Kenyatta University staff, and this is years of work and toil right here in Kenyatta University. At this point, I want us to take a very short break. When we come back, we'll be coming back with newspaper review. The gentleman already in studio, that is Murithi Alex and Ojwang Mariam, of course. These are contestants in the 2027 general election. Stay tuned for the insights on the state of the nation.
Get ready to embark on a journey into the exciting world of technology as we uncover the latest trends, interview top thought leaders, and dive deep into the world of tech like never before.
Currently, we are facing the challenge in terms of finance. It requires one to move from different counties because we really need a large data set for our model to be.
In this new and exciting series of the Technovation Show, join me every Monday 8:30 p.m. for a fun and thrilling experience as we explore the cutting-edge developments, meet visionaries driving change.
Somebody who is in the underground mine doesn't know the presence of those gases. So there are a lot of gases involved. There is methane, there is carbon monoxide, and there's also hydrogen sulfide. These gases actually, they are very dangerous and they're very toxic.
And discover the endless possibilities of the tech world.
In a world transforming through technology, innovation is not just our pursuit, it's our purpose. At Kenyatta University, we lead through research, powering ideas that shape industries, communities, and nations. Our partnerships span continents, connecting visionaries, scholars, and change makers. Here, every breakthrough has a human story. Every success begins with curiosity and grows through courage. Today, we celebrate that spirit in every graduate ready to imagine the world. Because tomorrow doesn't wait, it begins here. Kenyatta University will hold the 58th graduation ceremony on 19th Friday, December 2025 from 8 a.m. at KU Main Campus Graduation Square. The ceremony will also be streamed live on KUTV and radio, YouTube and KU website and social media. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 0208 703092 or 0786 335111 or visit the KU website at www.ku.ac.ke. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives.
All right, welcome back. We are seated, ready for the discussion on the state of the nation. I'm not going to give a very long introduction of this because you all know what is happening. Just allow me to allow the guests in studio to introduce themselves, and I'll begin from my immediate right.
Olivia, for having me today here this morning. We talk about the state of the nation, at least your voice, how we the youth are viewing what is happening. So my name is Moredi Alex, a youth leader from Kasarani constituency, Mwikiwad. Yeah, and we are aspiring leaders who wants to be there in the 2027 contest. So join us today, we have a conversation and see how we feel that our country should be driven.
All right, thank you so much, Moredi.
Thank you so much. Indeed, it's a great morning, bright outside, and bright in here. I love the mustard that I'm seeing. Na learn kujua colors. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is still Ojwang Mtoto wa Mariam, Senior Warrant Officer 1 or Lieutenant Kanali. And if you are a person who loves your country and maybe you know the Constitution or you're trying or you're a student of Constitution, then you can call me Mkenya, a Kenya nae, lakini Ukenya wake Kenye, or communications expert, community leader, peace, inclusivity, and sustainability advocate. I'm charged and ready for today's newspaper review. Ndio tuangalie vijana tunatengenezaje nchi, because the future of this country, the future of Africa is youth.
Thank you so much, Ojwang. Now that we are talking about Nairobi, I've heard of Mwikiwad and Resambo constituency. That is Kasarani constituency. Yes. Those are all in Nairobi. So let's talk about the fate of Nairobi come 2027. The Star is giving different faces, and they're talking of intrigues in 2027 Nairobi governor race. Nairobi is a county that has vast potential. Talk of resources, talk of opportunities. It is vast. And with greatness comes great responsibility. So it's a county that yes, there is a lot of revenue or all that, but yet again there is a lot expected from the leaders. And the Star has given several faces. That is of Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, Babu Owino, Agnes Kagure, Moses Kuria, James Gakuya, George Aladwa, and Irungu Nyakera. All these people are believed to be eyeing the gubernatorial seat of Nairobi. Beginning from you, Alex, do you think that Sakaja is going to defeat the one-term history that has been witnessed with the previous governors in Nairobi County?
I think that is actually very much direct. We actually understand that Sakaja survived an impeachment, and it's because he actually accepted and has been working with the very government of the day, and that is the only thing that made him to be protected, and that is what is actually making him survive. It's not about his delivery. Sakaja and whatever they are doing with the current government, the current regime, I just want to tell you that he can't even survive if it wasn't being saved by this engagement of the bread-based government. Then he couldn't be there. So talking about the one term, actually he will be the first and the very first person who will be going home, because we feel, just as you have said, Sylvia, Nairobi deserves the best. This is the city. This is where all of us, the youth, once we study at home, we normally come to get greener purchases. Yeah, we come try. We are being taxed in Nairobi. If you walk around now in the city, people are busy. We have seen our mothers are very committed to do business so that they can provide for themselves. They can pay the taxes. But where do our taxes normally go? Just recently, you remember, Sylvia, the governor, because of his selfishness and egocentrism, he changed the account. You know, the money of Nairobi County has been flowing in Cooperative Bank. That is the bank that have been getting the monies and everything. But we hear it was changed to a personal, somebody's bank with less than like the total amount, the what can we call it? The richness of that bank, it's less than the total amount that the government, that is the Nairobi County government has. So you see, whatever Mr. Sakaja is doing, he said that tunataka kufanya nini, tunadishi na county, but Sakaja has just been dishing county, and we can't wait. We actually want to make him go home, and we need better leaders, somebody who can at least show us as the youth, because we feel like we have the potential of making Nairobi a great city. So this PR of just takataka lorries being bought, new ones, and ending up doing nothing. We need industrial hubs in Nairobi. We need good infrastructure. People are suffering of water. Yet we know we can manage to get this water because we have good sources. So all these issues and dustbin collection and everything, we need somebody who is willing, not somebody who is just chest dumping himself, that I will do, I can do, I have ever done. We don't want those stories. First of all, the biggest failure we have, I think even the intellectual capacity of our current governor, it's actually causing to this. So we need people who are sharp, people who are educated, people with legit papers, so that we can now talk the business of Nairobi. Yes, so Sakaja can't survive. He's going home.
That is quite deep. Talking of intellectual capacity of our leaders. Now coming back to your Juang, do you, of the faces that are mentioned, or of the faces that are presented on the Star this morning, do you see a fit leader to lead Nairobi to become that city under the sun and getting back Nairobi to its glory?
Nairobi is a blessed city. Most people have called Nairobi the capital city of Africa, not Kenya, because of its greatness. If it's that great, it means that we do not have a shortage of good leaders. What we are having is leaders who have become mediocre, leaders who are educated. And I will say they are educated because they know how to play PR. And PR makes the majority suffer. Why? Today, they will give you dish in a county, and they'll tell you that their goal is to ensure that in all the 17 sub-counties of Nairobi, we have dish in a county in all schools. But that's not what is happening. 2, in all these people who are getting dish in a county, these kids come from ghettos, from communities that they're not able to raise even that 100 bob per month that is needed. I know this because time and again we've been involved in our home Kahawa West to go to these schools and make sure hawa watoto wa ghetto wenye wameshindwa tunachanga tuwalipie. Hiyo itakwambia ati mtoto wako shule anasoma na education ina improve, lakini hai improve. Why? For me to go to school, they will say there are other necessities that I need. Books, shoes, uniform, that are not being given by the government. So the government should make it possible for me as a parent to be able to help my son or daughter to stay in school. How? Tax tunatoa kila time. Nairobi has a revenue allocation of 44.6 billion for the financial year 2025-2026. But ukiangalia kazi hii ndo inafanya, ndio hakuna. If watu wa Mwiki kule juu wanalia takataka, wanalia ukosefu wa maji, basi kazi ya gavana itakuwa ni gani? Huyu mtoto akuje shule atakula, yes. Kusoma hata soma vizuri, atabaki na stress. Akikuja nyumbani kuna kuwa ni kunoma tena zaidi, hakuna hadi basic commodities kama maji. Yet ni jukumu la gavana. Gavana wa sasa is still the same governor mwenye alikuwa amesema akiingia atakuwa na more than 20 markets constructed for the benefit of people of Nairobi. Inakuwa ngumu. Kwa nini? We have a group of politicians who are only interested in power. So wase tupanganeni, uchukue Nairobi. In fact, Sakaja was vying on ANC before decamping to UDA ndo waweze kutoa Madam Margaret ule pasta wamweke asimame senator. So alikuwa ni wa ANC. Wakipanga hawapangi vile watasaidia watu wa Nairobi, wanapanga vile watakuwa na power na vile wataweza kuconcentrate hii power amongst themselves. But this constitution, article number 1, the very first chapter, talks about the sovereignty of the people, that all power belongs to the people. Sisi ndio tunagawa kadogo, tunapatia Kidero 2017 tunamwambia Kidero, the only thing watu wanasema umefanya katika hiyo term ni kupiga Rachel Shebesh kofi moja hot, so wewe enda nyumbani. 2017 we take a youthful senator of Nairobi by the name Gideon and we call him Mike Sonko. Mike Sonko anajua PR kuliko Sakaja na usichochwe, but hiyo haikumfanya asiende half term, because he went for a half term na akaweza kuondoka. I was on this set when I told you that Sakaja will be impeached because the MCAs of Nairobi do not want him, do not want to be associated with his mediocrity. But the Baba factor had to come in and save this guy. Now we are living in post-Baba era. Post-Baba era is where ODM is trying to find itself again, trying to ensure that the party is going to the people. Itoke kwa familia moja, itoke kwa jamii moja, ingie to the whole of the country. How will that happen? They are talking of giving that ticket to Babu Owino. Babu Owino, when Baba was alive, was being talked about that he won't get the ticket. But the people of Nairobi had said, wewe ukuwe na ticket ama hauna ticket, sisi ndio tuko na nini? Tuko na kura. So when such things or such topics arise, Sakaja will always feel afraid. There is no Baba to protect him. And Mama Ida, time and again anaprove yeye hataki mambo ya siasa. In fact, kasichana kamebaki siasa kwa ile familia na kwa kanoma zaidi ni Winnie Odinga. Winnie mwenye anasema akona rafiki yake. Rafiki wanamuita aje? Babu Owino. Toka hapo hivyo. We have other people who are contesting for the same seat. Talking of people like Irongo Nyakera, people who have been in the politics. Kama wanasiasa pekee ndio wanahitajika. There are a lot of people who can do a lot of good in this country and in this Nairobi. Jukumu hili lote liko kwa Wakenya, and I'm telling you, one term, sio wimbo tu.
All right. Now I see you've already picked your favorite candidate in the list of candidates presented already, and you're sharing the same candidate with Alex. Now on to the members of parliament on the CDF matter. Audit exposes CDF misuse. This story is on the page 4 and 5 of the Star, and they're talking of millions that go without proof of any work, and they're talking of either incomplete, stalled, or non-existent projects. And this specifically is a focus on schools, where they're talking of transfers to Dono Primary School, that is 27.5 million, Maua Primary School 20 million, and Bakasi Primary School, that is 11 million and some shillings hapo mbele. So it's a huge amount of money, totaling to almost 59 million Kenyan shillings, that is unaccounted for, either installed projects or projects that has exist entirely. So as leaders who aspire to be heading into these elective seats as members of parliament, members of county assembly, this docket will be under your hand. I'd just love to hear what different you are planning to be doing, because from what we've seen, this is a story that has been continuous in our country. the story of, you know, CDF being released and it's used for reasons that are not known to the public, or probably used for a wheelbarrow is bought at 200,000 Kenyan shillings, you know, so much misappropriation and lack of prudence in our leaders. So what different do you think should be done, or do you think you are going to be doing for the people of Nairobi County for us to see a change in, so that we may have a different narrative when it comes to CDF management?
Thank you very much, Sylvia. I think now this has now become a talk of the day. Every now and then, I think the issue of corruption, the issue of misappropriation of funds, the issue of this money was given out, this money was not given out to where it belonged. The issue of, like, we even have schools non-existing and the government is dispersing money paid to people who are not there. You know, some of the things, Sylvia, I tend to think that we are all joking as a country. Like, we are budgeting for corruption. We are actually having a very huge budget and making our taxpayers pay a lot of money. And as if that is not enough, instead of you allocating this money to where it belongs, like having the development projects, like paying to schools what deserves to be there, giving these kids food, and maybe providing medication to patients in our hospitals, like all this money has actually been misappropriated. And now Kenyans are now singing this. I don't know why we Kenyans love lamenting, because now it's now becoming like we are now getting used to that, and we are okay with it. Like, we are even shouting and actually making a lot of merry and joy to some of these leaders who we know very well that are the people who are conducting these irregularities. You see, for instance, our president is at times talking about corruption and all these issues. We have had this issue about NGCDF. Like, why do we need to give bursaries to governors? We give bursaries to MPs, we give bursaries to MCAs, we give bursaries to women representatives, and everybody allocating the money so that they can deliver this money to schools. Yet we are saying that education is free. Yet we are charging our parents. For instance, today in the morning we have heard that there is a likelihood that we shall be charging more for these people who are going to grade 10. Like, I feel our country, we need to be serious with whatever we are doing. Sylvia, you have asked me a very good question, that what will we do when we come up to these positions that is different for each other from who are actually currently the leaders of today. Sylvia, I feel challenged by Ojwang. You see, he's working with his Katiba, and it's actually a very good move. Actually, I'll go get mine today. It's free. Yes, yes, I have to get mine, because we don't need to do rocket science. It is not like we need to do miracles. We just need to obey this Katiba. Once we follow the constitution to the letter, then everything will flow. Like, you see, the problem we have, the government, you know, this issue about state capture. By the way, for your information, when I was in the university at JKUAT, I used to come. I remember we used to come for these debates. And for me, in any debate, I would have my point of state capture, because I felt like the state capture could affect everything. You see, the issue we have, like, we have an answerable, like an accountability of these organs from the cabinet secretaries, from these ministries. Like, they have the money, yes, but they are not actually answerable to anybody. They can't be charged in the judiciary. They are actually acting like they are above the law. Then how do we expect that these people will actually be answerable, or maybe appropriate or utilize these funds like accordingly? We have a president who walks with the tractors following him to commence a project, knowing very well, Sylvia, there is no project that will be taking place. We have a president who is actually doing a lot of PR instead of actually focusing on the actual work itself. You see, for instance, our president, whenever he is planning to do something, he normally tells us, like, next week I'll be doing this project, I'll be launching this project. Then, like 2 days before, we are actually shown the president, it is being prepared that the president will be in this region to do something like this and that. Then on the actual day, now the president prepares a massive people to come with a lot of money to give out to people so that they can appear that he has launched a project. Then afterwards, immediately he leaves the place. If it were tractors that were brought there to build road, they follow him. Or if it was a school that was to be constructed, if it was a market that was to be constructed, then the contractor vacates the place. And now you will follow, you can't find the president anywhere. Like, his work is just playing this PR thing. So the problem we have, Sylvia, with our current leaders,
It's not that they can't deliver, they are not willing to deliver. Simple and clear. If they wanted to deliver, I tell you, Sylvia, we have a lot of money and we are getting a lot of fundings from abroad. Like, for instance, in this visit of the president, he has been given 2 billion or something of the sort, some cash to come and mitigate some diseases or actually fight whatever that is affecting our citizens. But Sylvia, do you think somebody who has not been providing medicine in our hospitals, after allocating a budget, can dare utilize that money in such a sector? We have leaders who are actually have their own interests. They are there for their own good. And mark you, Sylvia, what they are doing, it is that they have now lost it in the ground. They feel like they have lost, they can't manage to convince the people. So they want to amass more than enough wealth so that come 2027, they'll be buying and bribing us. And literally that is what we have seen them doing during these recent by-elections that have been happening. The government spent a lot of money. And that is what they intend to do in come 2027. So the problem is, we don't need to just do a lot of issues. I advise my young leaders like Ojwanga, we meditate, as he has said, with the Constitution. Once we get there, let us respect the rule of law. Let leaders be accountable. Let us allocate funds and make sure that they have worked whatever it was meant for that. Unless we do that, anything else, Sylvia, we are trying to do, we shall allocate this money to just make, as you have said, we said last week that we have 145, I think, billionaires who has more richness than we 41 million people. You know, that is, I think that is equivalent to if it's not madness, I don't know. Because somebody like J.M. Kariuki, he was killed, or maybe he suffered his death because he said, like, we can't be having 1,000 millionaires and 10 million beggars. And that is the truth. That is what we are seeing. Kenyans are suffering, Sylvia. People in hospital are going to just queue and end up dying. It is neglect of these leaders. The only problem that we have in our country is not about funding or money. It's bad leadership. People who are not willing to even deliver for our people. They say they don't care. Whatever they want to do that, and they'll follow that to the latter. Then you citizens, you can talk, jump up, suffer, but again, I blame our citizens because they are the ones who normally appear in these shows. They are the audience. They are being paid. Why do we allow our people or our leaders to give us money and then we expect them to go deliver while they get the work? We should, if we are getting this money because they have to give it out, let's not elect our leaders basing on whatever they have given us. Unless we change that, then all these stories will continue to ail our country and we won't help ourselves, Sylvia. So we need to up our game, even as citizens.
Yes. I had someone say that if I'm giving you money to vote for me, when I get to the office, I for sure have to return that money first. And if I am going to be contributing to your funerals, to your harambes, I for sure have to regain that money once again. So, Ojwang, from where we sit, there are systemic setbacks in our leadership. We've seen young people with ambition, in new, fresh leadership, with vision, getting to campaigns and saying, you know, when I get to power, I will do this, do that. Some independent, some with parties, because sometimes parties we may not really dictate because they go according to party policies. So we have the independent candidates coming in and getting pity votes, I may say. But then there are systemic barriers to achieving what they really came for. You find that you want to make changes, but then you have, let me not mention, but then let's just say systemic barriers where your bill may be prolonged, may never get to the floor, or you have those people in the system who want you to conform to what they want. Otherwise, they may find fault with your leadership and you end up being impeached, or you end up 6 feet under. So how do you plan to handle this kind of systemic barriers in order to avoid the corruption that are avoidable for that matter?
Thank you so much. Let me start with the question on education. Matters education are matters that are very personal to me, to my history, and to my future. This constitution is a document that has proven to Kenyans that no one has monopoly of wisdom or intelligence. Just follow it. Article 53, Clause 1B states that every child has a right to free and compulsory education. That was first tested in 2003. Never again. Were it not for that FPE, persons like myself would never have gone to school. I've suffered under what we would call inequalities and lack of access to education. Yet, SDG number 4 Sustainable Development Goal talks of universal quality education for everyone. Back in our country, today, a leader will tell you that he knows that bursaries will help, that CDF will help. If you have goodwill, toa hii pesa yote ati every CDF bursary ikikuja inakujaga na watu wanalipo wa kugawa. Toa hiyo pesa yote, weka kwa Ministry of Education. Ndio maana tuko na Ministry of Education. Wacha watoto waende tu shule. That way, we'll not have a cocoon of leaders who want to come up with schools, just names, schools that are getting funded, but there are no students there. Lakini, watoto wetu bado wanaendelea kuumia. Grade 10 is in shambles right now. Parents are confused. JSC teachers are confused. They still don't know if they are primary teachers or high school teachers. They are even not willing. They are even talking on TikTok saying, please parents, I am not your child's role model. Mimi niko hapa hivi nimalize kama gava inanigawia inigawie. Goodwill. Goodwill inaanza na wewe, goodwill inaanza na mimi. Juu, wewe ukiwa mwalimu na unataka kufanya hizo vitu zote za kudilidali juu maybe serikali haikulipi vile inafaa. Kuna walimu wengine kama kina Teacher Sila pale hivyo who are taking it upon themselves kututengenezea hii generation alpha ndio in future waweze kufanya mazuri. Were it not for education, the Gen Z of today would not be so powerful as they are, because even before the coming of this generation, we had a constitution that no one cared about. But from 2010, we have a constitution that the millennials are learning daily, that the Gen Zs are learning daily. Let's go back to people like myself. I have said, and I will never fear to say, that I have never graduated with a degree. Got promoted to Kenyatta University to bachelor's degree in education, Kiswahili and history. Never finished that. Went to KU Radio to start communication. Did my best. Nikamaliza. Went to KUTV newsroom. Did my best. Nikamaliza. Nikakuja hii morning show. Nikamaliza. I even went between 2022 and 2024. I was not in Kenyatta University television or radio, and came back. But the urge and hunger that has always had in my heart is to have a degree that is mine, not to buy. But tuko na inequalities when it comes to access to education. Kwa nini? If huyu kiongozi yeye ameingia leo na ukose kumuimba useme tosha, you will not get bursary. Yet kila mtu anatoa ushuru. So unapata tunatoa ushuru sote, lakini ushuru kusaidia unasaidia wale ambao inasemekana ni wagava. And then wanasema kama wewe ni wa opposition ati wewe ndio utaki maendeleo, unataka kulia. When wananitisha ushuru hawaniambii wewe ni wa opposition tusikuitishe. Goodwill is one thing that I will always have. From the point I was born on Monday, 25th January 1993, to the point that I will die, I will always be remembered as a person who had goodwill. Tunaweza kosa kusikizana leo, but we jua, mimi nilikuwa na goodwill ya tusikizane. So what do I do with all this goodwill? Sitaingia pale hivyo nikijifanya venye najua. Mimi naenda tu juu ya hii constitution. Na naendea kiti cha representation. Na mimi roho yangu inajua nataka kuwa Roysambu MP. Kwa nini? Kuna watu Roysambu ward wanataka niwasaidie. Kuna watu Zimmerman ward wanataka niwasaidie. Kuna watu Githurai ward wenye ni marafiki wangu wanataka niwasaidie. Kahawa ward ndiko mimi nilipigia kura 2017 and 2022. And then there is Kahawa West, who has always thought of me as mtoto wa Mariam, meaning son of this community. And they are saying, we need you more than we would need you as an MP. I am telling them, my roles are 3. Representation, oversight, and legislation. Na hii katiba ndio nitakuwa natumia. Wacha nikuambie, there are very many opposition leaders who have done something in this country. Take Embakasi East, for example. The MP there has been a 2-term MP using ODM, which for the longest time has been in opposition. But he has been delivering on his mandate. Whereas there are other leaders elected through UDA but are doing nothing. It has nothing to do, your party has nothing to do with your people getting development or not. In fact, Wakenya kutoka leo, wacheni kuambia viongozi wawaletee maendeleo. There is something better than that, and it's called sustainable development. Sustainable development ni nini? Kama unatengeneza barabara hapa, kwa nini unataka uanze na lami na hauna drainage? Kukinyesha, hiyo barabara yote inaisha. Na Mkenya anakuwa yeye alishatoboka pesa zake na ataendelea kulia miaka ingine 5. Goodwill mimi inaniambia kama Ojwang mtoto wa Mariam, kama hii ni barabara, ongea na hawa watu. Public participation yenye iko kwa article 10 kwa national values and governance principles. Waambie hii barabara inahitaji pia drainage. So please, let's do this systematically. Wasaa hii wanataka tu waingie, wagawe pesa zikuliwe, contractor aondoke. Mgoje next campaigning period, mtu aseme walai bilai kanchit kandai nikiingia nitawajengea barabara, nitawajengea mahospitali. Aingie ikuwe ni story bado. Katiba ifuatwe. Na hiyo ndio kitu mimi nitakuwa nafuata. Katiba inasemaje?
All right. Now, I want to get your take, gentlemen, on the current conversation ongoing in the country on Safaricom's tech sell amid outcry. The 15% that the government intends to sell of its shares, leaving the government with around 20%. I think it's 20% of that. There are factions who are saying that this should go through public participation, and it's not good for business of Kenya. And there are those who are saying this is good decision because the money will be used to fund, infrastructure projects, development projects, and prevent the country from relying on debts. I want to get your take, beginning from you, Alex. What's your take on this move by the government on the proposal to sell Safaricom shares?
Thank you very much, Sylvia, about this. And I feel sorry for my motherland. I feel sorry for my country because, you see, I think we are now getting out of the pan. We are now jumping into the fire itself because we have seen what has been happening. The problem is not even about selling these shares. Will this money go to where it belongs? Because, Sylvia, we are actually wasting ourselves. We are selling what we have and not utilizing the money, embezzling these funds, and then we want development. You see, I think I have an analogy of like you selling your own cow to be buying milk. You see, it's not that you don't want to be buying milk, because we know Safaricom has been of a great benefit to our country. We know how secure we are having such assets. How can you just be selling all your assets? And you see, we have sold a lot. With this government, I don't think they are satisfied with any money that is there. Every time they are sleeping, they think of how they can get money. More money it is, and they are not utilizing the money appropriately. We have taken so many loans, Sylvia, that now we are even borrowing off. I heard it is off book, that we have skipped even our level of borrowing. Yet we are not satisfied. So when up to when will we borrow? Up to when will we sell what we have? You see, the issue here is the president and the executive. You see, now they are inviting people for a public view about the sale of Safaricom stake and sale amid the outcry. You see, the problem we have, where are these public views going to happen? Who is actually invited? How do we know that they will implement what we will tell them? You see, it's just like a show off. It's a formality thing that they told you. Then nothing will happen. You see, this government and our leader, especially the executive, they are determined to make sure that they leave our country as poor I don't know like which word I can use to define, but that is, I feel like basically that is what they want. We can't be risking all whatever that we have as a president or as a government that we know that will be generating as funds. Let the government utilize what it has. If it doesn't have anything to do the development, let it stop. It is not a do or die thing. Yes, we have had more other presidents who came and they did what they managed. They never killed citizens, or they never oppressed citizens this much, or they never sold all our assets to now have the development. First of all, if this government had shown us what it has done with the little it has been getting, then we could at least be having some sort of, we are banking with it. We can accept you guys can sell it and actually do some development projects. But now they have taken loans, they have charged citizens like building houses, and they are not, I don't know those houses are accessible by who. I have never seen even one, but my salary has always, I have been paying the salaries for almost now a whole year or two. But where is this money? So let us stop fooling people. We are people who can see whatever that is happening. We will actually speak. We don't fear the government. Yes, we youths, we are going to say it, whatever that it is. We fear failure. We fear not succeeding, that fearing the government, because they are now trying to like show us like whatever that has been happening with our parents there before. Like they decided what they wanted to do, they could just come and do it. No, we are a different generation. We are demanding transparency in this transaction. There is no way the government can come and tell us they have given us up to 31st December and we should have given out our public views. When people are focusing now on the birthday of Jesus, we should be given ample time to think of that and be given good places to go and answer. So you see the problem with our government, anything that is happening in their favor, they will allocate places. Look at how they are normally serious with things like election, like referendums. If today, Sylvia, we were planning a referendum, even the worst insecure place, the farthest corner of Kenya, we could have government agencies well represented and fully serviced with food and everything, so that they can collect and make sure that the government has delivered. It has managed to do the referendum. But now on such an issue, the cabinet secretary just came out today in the morning or yesterday in the morning. He said that we will be demanding, we will be giving you this time to do this and that, and he disappears. Then the other thing that will follow, it will be now in parliament, seeing parliament just standing and saying, I vote yes, I say I accept at President Ruto. Yet we have not given our citizens ample time to do whatever that should be done. Let all stakeholders be involved in this. Let the people speak out. Let us first analyze this issue. Let's see the pros and the cons of this, and then we decide as a country. It is not the work of the president and his guys to just deliver our country. Even as the citizen who normally pay the taxes, we actually have a very big input in this decision. So the government should not stop hoodwinking citizens. We are alert and we are seeing these things. Yeah, we need at least a transparent government, and I feel like this government has proved beyond reasonable doubt that it doesn't even have an intention of ever being transparent with its citizens. That's why we have this coalition. Like the government wants to do this, the citizens wants to do this. The judiciary wants to do this, then the citizens want to do this. Like every now and then, we are fighting. For your information, Sylvia, we have a lot of issues in our country. We leave this issue, we have not solved it, now we have another. We leave this one, we have another. Like now citizens are actually now confused of what is happening in our country. And that is what the government is taking advantage of, and just amending things and just passing things. Then we will have issues of citizens now suffering later, that we have to give more taxes so that we can make our economy sustainable. It can't happen like that. Let us involve everybody and let everybody play their role. Okay. Don't play anybody's role. Yes, it is that simple.
All right. Before Juang, as Juang is giving us his take on the sale of Safaricom shares saga, I would like for you to pick a story that will serve as your closing remark, even as Juang gives us his take on the same.
Kabisa, hata static time mingi sana. Wakenya viongozi wetu wame move from kuiba mamilioni, and we are talking about billions, na hizi billions zinaenda na speed ingine ndefu such that billions leo zitaibiwa, kesho hiyo si news. For example, did you know that size it is still news, ile news yenye Nancy Gathongo alisema that we don't have 300 billion from the bonds. Hizi bonds ni wa Kenya wameweza kuchanga wakopeshe gava. 300 billion haiko. Size inasemekana that jua kuna pesa, tuingieni hapo hivyo Safaricom, tuuze hii Safaricom 15% the shares to the parent company which is Vodafone at 245 or for 245 billion. Kwa nini unataka uuze share moja shilingi 34? Yet hii share wewe ukitaka kununua leo Sylvia, hii moja utainunua around 74 bob share ya Safaricom. Risk ni gani yenye iko hapa? That we are selling everything. We are obsessed with something we are calling privatization. We are obsessed with selling airport. We are obsessed with selling our shares in communication industry. We are obsessed with selling our healthcare system. Saa hizi, Kenya is going to receive 2 billion between 2026 and 2030. How? 582 million every year. In exchange for what? Gava ya Kenya iko inapeana health data yetu kwa gava ya US. Data. Kwa watu ambao wamesoma data who are data analysts, they know that is the currency of the future, and we are selling that slowly juu ya kitu tunaita unga. Kwa nini naita unga? Juu pesa ikikuja hapa nchini Kenya ikiwa ni ya health, haitaenda kwa health. Hapana, itaenda kwa mifuko ya mtu. Hata hii 245 billion if gava watauza, bado haitaenda kwa hizo vitu zenye zinasemekana. Kwa nini? Si tunauza shares tujenge barabara, right? Kwani pesa za barabara zilienda wapi? Juu ziko, si ndio? So, to close all this, it is the mandate of huyu Mkenya. Mahali ambapo wanataka kurealize peace, kurealize love, kurealize unity for this country, lazima ajifikirie mwenyewe na akumbuke that I am because we are. Hakuna wewe bila Alex, hakuna Alex bila mimi. That is why they keep saying no man is an island, even though tuko kwa island yetu. 2022 tukapiganishwa tukaambiwa kuna mahasla na kuna dynasty. Manze mimi ni hustler na niliwekwa kwa dynasty juu tu siku support Kenya kwanza. 2027 tusikubali such narratives. 2027 ni wewe. Whether kura yako inabaiwa ama haibaiwi, no, it is your future for the next 5 years that is at stake. The last 5 years have been very vocal in teaching Kenyans that poor leadership choices will always affect you directly. Huo ndo wasia wangu hata wa mwisho wa leo. Asante sana Sylvia.
Alex, a story of choice that will serve as your closing remarks.
Okay, for me as we finish, Sylvia will just give a simple remark about whatever that is happening in our country. You see, sometimes back, Barack Hussein Obama, while he was the president of America, one day while addressing a congregation of youth in UK, he told them that every problem that there is on this world has been created by the human being. And still he added that it's only the human being and the man that can get the solution. I tell Kenyans that we can't give up. If we give up, where will we go? We don't have another country. The only issue that we have in our country is about our leadership. Let us actually focus on fixing our leaders and get the correct and people who are willing to serve our country. Then with that, everything will be okay. Don't talk of health system, talk of education, talk of agriculture, talk of employment and everything. We will have solved that issue. But if we go while trying to solve these issues and still we have this bad leadership, then we are just doing zero grazing.
All right. I will conclude this discussion with a story given prominence on the Standard, the ID scandal, just to raise alarm of the possibility of us having porous borders, because if you have cash, you can get any official document, ID, passport, birth certificate. And this is specifically, they have given focus on the northeastern region, a region that President William Ruto has been keen on. I don't know if this is related to the 2027 election. I'm not saying this is related to President William Ruto. I'm just saying we have seen campaigns of having more citizens from the northeastern region, and now it's becoming a scandal. That is my submission on the story of choice. It brings us to the end of Biashara Tuesday this morning. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time for us this morning.
Thank you so much.
I hope to see you once again.
Sure.
Probably before the year ends or next year.
No,
I've had
before the year ends.
Ni time ya kufikiria birthday ya Yesu. All right, I hope to see you again, even for you, our gentle viewer. But before I leave you, there's a challenge that is currently ongoing on how well do you know Kenyatta University. You can participate in that challenge in Kenyatta University social media platforms, probably on X, mostly on X, and send in your answers on the questions that are presented on how well do you know Kenyatta University history, even as we celebrate 40 years of existence from being a teachers training college to now an award-winning university, or the premium university, being the best or ranked the best 2 years in a row. That is Kenyatta University. This brings us to the end of Biashara Tuesday. See you next week. Bye.
Umezoesha vibaya ndo ujiwezi. Unasikiza jamaa mbaba na very true. Na washika bila kuwavalia navy blue. Malaika na nisho umeweka mapenzi juu. Yeah, rumors za maskando za ulava na lady drama. Na tisteto mali uko na baby mama. Kwa mitandao kila siku ni story new. Bando zako zikiisha utapitwa uspori new. Kapedi nko chini ya waba leo